What's up, everyone? Welcome to a pretty interesting week in NRL Fantasy. It's just a bit of a strange one when you go pretty much halfway through the season and basically a week off. And, it's like, oh, what do I do with my videos? So we're just going to bring them out slowly. We're going to really do a deep dive into each of the positions and a lot of the guys that we're going to be wanting to bring in for the run home for our final 10 rounds there. So that's going to be the goal, but we've got to get through our people squad scoring for this past week. And we actually did pretty well. A small improvement in rank. We were sitting around the 1400 mark and coming with a score of 1188 to get our overall rank down to 1053. So it was a nice fit round 15 rank of 883. So yeah, still a lot of teams that smashed that 1200 barrier. So yeah, that's out there. And we do have a couple of players that we need to be concerned about. We also have the annoying fact that Reece Walsh has been named in the Origin squad to contend with. And if you're someone that picked him up last week, then the worries came true. So yeah, something to think about going into this week and the following week when he actually plays Origin. So that's that there. With the other thing is that will he be able to back up for round 16 and then he's possibly going to be out for 17 as well. So yeah, interesting thoughts. Will Ponga be back? That's the other question there. So anyway, people squad Brayley, we're sitting there with 36 from him and just not good enough, unfortunately, and had that decent week in his 53, but his last bunch of weeks has been really poor. And we'll have a bit of a deep dive in here now. By the way, how did you guys go this week? Just pop that in the comments there and let me know how you fared. My personal team didn't go very well, so having no Tom Trbojevic is a bit of a killer. All right, so that first 9-10 games was absolutely incredible, and since then he just has hardly ran the ball. He's making less tackles, missing a bunch more. Just hasn't been good enough at all with a high score of 52 over those weeks. So this is kind of, if we put it into perspective, it's something that we thought was probably going to happen. With him as a player, we were hoping for maybe a 50 average if we we're lucky, right? He was priced at 30, low 32, 30, 31. And we we're like, well, if he gets to somewhere around that 622 price and average close to 50, then he's going to be great. And he obviously exceeded that immensely. In the last bunch of weeks, he's been scoring a little bit closer to what we thought he was going to throughout the start of the year. So I'm not sure what has happened with him and his scoring. The Knights aren't playing any better or any worse than what they were doing at the start of the season. They won a couple of games, but maybe it was because he was up against some lesser teams in Dogs, Warriors, Tigers, St. George, Titans, for example. But then he scored some big ones against Panthers and stuff. So you can't really put that to it. But I suppose that's what we thought he was going to be. The question now is, will he be a keeper long term? And the worry is the amount of hookers that are actually in the game that are actually good, right? That are going to be playing in round 17, for example. So the question is he going to be a keeper? And probably not, right? That's probably the worry now, that he's going to be averaging around that 40-odd, which he has over the last 5 games. And do you pick up someone that's not playing 17 just to play in round 16? Do you allow him to get some rest? And maybe that's what he needed. It needed a week off of rest, and then he's going to play better. I'm not exactly sure, but I think it's probably a smart idea to look to move him on if there's an opportunity that presents. If you have someone that's covering the hooker position, maybe you have a Ben Hunt or something like that, then you can trade him out for someone that is playing, that isn't playing in round 17 and is a gun. But again, with the amount of guys that we're sitting here in that hooker position, it's only really Brandon Smith, Ben Hunt, Damien Cook at the moment, but they all aren't playing 17. So it's really something to think about with those guys, or maybe it's worth waiting until Mane comes back in around 18 or something like that. So yeah, that's the thoughts on Brayley there. When we're looking at the rest of the team, we got Papali'i at 73, which is great. It's obviously getting back to those really nice scores, and he has a 63.5 average. As a dual position player, we're going to hold him in the squad forever. Tory Harris, 76. He's been incredible, hasn't he? Just keeps doing his job. Connor Watson is someone you could use as a hooker cover at this stage if you needed to. But again, I wouldn't be relying on him to be getting keeper level scores. And I imagine a bunch of people in the top 100 to 1,000 will be looking to potentially move him on if they have some trades left over. But again, not a lot of great options in the hooking position. But obviously mids, there's a bunch of other guys you can pick up like a Payne Haas or something like that, who can be a decent trade-in target at a nice reduced price, or Taumalolo and these kind of guys that are coming into the fray. But yeah, someone will look to move on at a certain stage of the year. We currently do have 15 trades and I think 90k in the bank, which we'll have a look at as well. But yeah, Pangai Jr. is a bit of an interesting one, obviously being suspended for a bunch of weeks now, and he doesn't play 17 and looks like he could be moving on to another club anytime soon. So a bit of a shocker there. Only good thing here with Fafita is the fact that he's been named on the bench for the Maroons, and this should mean that he'll be able to back up and play some good minutes for the Titans in that next week in round 16. So we shouldn't have any worries this week with this Origin. It's just sort of standalone week. So if anyone doesn't know, it is played on Sunday, and then they'll have the normal round 16 the following week. So yes, no fixtures this week for our main NRL squads. Moses and Cleary was the awesome combo that everyone needed this week to dominate. Obviously, Moses and Cleary, sorry. Hughes could have been the really good option there, but that's that. In terms of our centres, Peachy and Averillo, we can't really complain with that one. Averillo, slightly lower game, but nothing to worry about. This was kind of everything that he could do as a floor without any attacking stats. Only one goal in there as well. So I wouldn't be too stressed with Averillo. He's going to be a gun in the centre position. And then wing fullbacks, we got Hines, Teddy, and Trbojevic, which was great. So 50 plus for all three of those guys. We definitely can't be complaining there. We decided to take Gamble's 51 once he played that first game and did well. So used Schuster as a interchange 4. And then we got Johnson, Crichton, and Walsh. So if anyone doesn't have Crichton, I think he's very, very important. Obviously won't be playing in round 17 as he should be in the Origin squad then. And it would depend if he is able to back up the next week in round 16. But you imagine most guys would, because we have it's basically like they're playing a normal game on the weekend and then can play the next week. So re-injury rates or aggravation kind of rates are much lower after 3 to 4 days, and they can get their proper recovery. So a great trade in bringing in Johnson. But other than that, it's a really good week, guys. And when we move on to round 16 and have 90k in the bank and 15 trades remaining, so a lot more than a lot of people, and I think is a really nice springboard to move into the top 1,000, which we've only been in once throughout the year. And if you look at the types of players we got on our emergencies, for example, we've got Lanu and Verrills, who will basically, I think, sit there for the rest of the year. Verrills will use as a player in 17. If we happen to find a really good cash cow or something like that, we could make it worthwhile trading Lanu down to one of those guys. But at this stage, we've got the majority of our team are high-level players. If we're looking at actual keepers, I think our team's better set up. And we'll count Pangai as one, but we will have to trade him out to someone at that price point who would be a keeper. So we go Brayley, we're going to say no at the moment, but Papali'i and Harris, yes. Fafita and Pangai, 4. Moses Cleary, 6. Peachy and Averillo, 8. And then you've got Hines, who's a keeper-level player, who will trade to another keeper with that price point, which is fine, at 9. Teddy, 10. Trbojevic, 11. Johnson, 12. Crichton, 13. And Walsh would be 14 as a keeper in our squad. We then have, really thinking about that, that's much better than my team is currently set. We've got a bunch of borderline guys. So our people squad has decided to hold on to the Fafitas. Pangai Jr. was a better call than what Madison or Leilua was, for example. Holding on to Trbojevic, Tedesco the whole time is really going to pay dividends now and going in later into the season. And then we've got some guys on the fringe. So we've got Schuster at 587 that we could upgrade. So if we combine Schuster and Brayley, for example, let's say Schuster and Watson, we can go one down and one up. That would give us 15 keepers. Brayley, we could almost go straight to a keeper with that extra 90k, for example, get us to a 710 player. That would be 15. And then we've got some random guys here and there around that, 429 with Gamble, 383 with Olam, that hopefully can make a little bit more cash with Gamble, for example. And then we can trade down an Olam and upgrade Gamble, for example, like that. To get us closer to a gun 16 or 17. So obviously a little bit behind the 8 ball in terms of, a bunch of the guys in the top sort of 4 to 500 in the ranks would be able to pick up sort of 16 to 17 keepers at this stage if they wanted to, just because team values would be a little bit higher. If we're looking at our team value, what do we got at the moment? We're sitting with 13.55 plus the 90, so 13.64 is our team value. And I've seen guys up closer to 14 million, and if that's the case, they are able to get that gun 16 or 17. But I think we're really close to being able to really lock in that type of squad and push for really good ranks over the next bunch of weeks and really not run out of trades right at the back end, where I think we'll be able to make up some spots with being able to cover for injuries and stuff like that. So I guess here hopefully Schuster comes back and we can use him as a good close to 50-point scorer there. Other than that, I think we're looking pretty solid. If we're losing Gamble as maybe that emergency number 5 player and be able to loop him possibly if Lanu or someone like that isn't playing in round 16. But Yeah, I think we're set up pretty well. Let me know what you guys think and what kind of trades would be you think we should be looking at with a Pangai, for example. Obviously, we've got plenty of cash in the bank. Let's have a little look now and just see how quickly it moves down from four blokes in the 800s, apart from whoever we have in our squad, and then the rest are like lucky to be 700 and going from there. So who do you think we should with 90k spare, for example, if we was just to make one trade this week and go Pangai up to someone here, is there any of these guys that you'd select? Let me know if you'd go through that. We've got obviously Smith, Hunt, Cook, Gutho, Carrick. I can't believe he's so high. You got Mitch Pearce as a half an option. Payne Haas, do you just buy the bullet and get him? Do you get a Luke Thompson? Do you get a Marty Tapau? These are the types of guys that are interesting around that price point. The other thing you can do is go a Watson straight up to one of these guys too, which is interesting. And as to if we do that or not, but there's these guys like Harry Winara who's coming off a few decent, a bunch of decent weeks. Taumalolo at 618. So there's some guys in there that could do a really good job for us, and I suppose that'll be we'll have to work out how that's going to look. But if you think about if you picked up a Taumalolo at what 40k more, and then we have an extra 50k to bring in someone for Pangai around that 690 mark. So it could be a Tapau, it could be a Payne Haas. So there's a lot of really good options there around that in that mid and the edge that could be really strong for us. So let me know what you guys think on that, because that will get us to 14 keepers straight away without even trading Brayley out. So let's say, guys, let me know what you thought on that one. Please do like and subscribe if you are enjoying this content. It's the best way to support me and the channel. I really appreciate that. And we'll catch you in the next one, guys, where we're going to update through my team, which is going to be a bit of a shit show, if I'm being honest, after losing a lot of ranks this week. But that's where we're at on the People Squad. Hope you enjoyed that. We'll catch you in the next one, team. See you later.